What's up guys? In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about everything you need to know about being a mechanic in 2020. So let's get started. Oh, yo, what is up guys? Nick Nakai here, Let's Drift Media. Thank you guys all so much for coming back to the channel. If it's your first time here, please hit that subscribe button down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the last video I did with Angel and his basically backstory about how he got into drifting. I think it's a really inspiring story and I feel like a lot of people can relate to that. It's like how they fell in love with cars and stuff, so check it out if you haven't already. It's my last video. Anyways, hope everyone's doing good right now. I know we got a whole lot of coronavirus stuff going on, a lot of people losing their jobs, having stuck at home. If you can, do me a favor, drop a comment how the coronavirus has affected your life. I'm really interested to see what my viewers are going through and what kind of struggles or benefits maybe have came about from this whole pandemic. So to get started with this video, today's video is basically gonna be about key points about being like a mechanic or technician as far as being a dealership technician in 2020. So I know I did do a video basically about this video like a couple months ago, but I had to take it down due to conflict of interest, let's just put it that way, reasons at work. So to give you guys first a little bit of background about myself and how I got into the field, I just basically graduated high school and then just didn't know what to do. I knew I wanted to do something with my hands and I wanted to do something where I would never be out of a job, which come to this point in my life has served me well because I'm still not out of a job, at least for now. So I think I made a pretty good choice. And after high school, I took a 2-year college T10 program at Citrus College, which was just Toyota kind of orientated. Just did like a class for almost every ASC subject, A1 through A8. Like I did a class on brakes, a class on electrical, air conditioning, chassis, brakes, etc. Did that, and towards the end I found out a Toyota dealership nearby was hiring, so I applied there, got a job as a lube tech, and changed oil for about 4 years. And then at the time I thought I wasn't really going to make it there at Toyota, so I took another job offer at GMC Chevy and stayed there for about a year. But there I was at least a flat rate technician, so I got a little bit of experience as being like an actual real technician, not just a lube tech. And then after that I got another job offer back at the same Toyota I was at, so I went back there as a flat rate tech for about 2.5 years and really learned a lot there, because I would say that for sure was like my roots of where my story started as being a technician. And then got another job offer at BMW, and I had no idea about anything about BMWs. I never even like touched one or popped the hood on a BMW. All I knew was like an E46 and an E36. That was the most I knew about BMWs, but I decided just to take the leap of faith. The pay was better, the shop looked nicer, I just took the jump, and now I've been a flat rate tech at BMW for almost a year, coming up in June on my birthday. So far so good. Anyone thinking about making that jump from Toyota to German, I highly recommend it. Just saying. That's kind of my story. I know I've been kind of around a couple years, but I still have so much to learn, and I'm still such a young pup in this industry, and I'm just constantly like getting my ass kicked at work, learning new things. So it's really awesome and pretty exciting just knowing that I have so much more to go. So first topic I want to cover is politics, dealership politics. This is one term or area that I feel like nobody really talks about, but it's like one of the biggest deals when you're working in a dealership. So like going through all school, I heard everyone say like, oh, dealership's nothing but politics, or like all the politics are BS and stuff like that. So I always wondered like, what are these guys talking about? Like dealership politics, like what is politics? Like I had no idea. So hopefully I can fill you guys in on what they mean by politics. Politics is basically the relationship you have between yourself and your coworkers and or your superiors even, not just your fellow technicians. And I would say your growth / success depends about like 90% on how good your politics are when working at a dealership. So what I mean by that, it doesn't matter how good you are, how badass you are at fixing cars. I mean, it matters a little bit, but not as much, because you can be like the baddest tech in the shop And like if you're like a complete like asshole and like you kind of like start beef and drama and like could pretty much turn the shop into your enemies, and like you don't really like show respect to the people above you, and you kind of try and like break rules and stuff like that, any kind of basically any like, I would say, like any kind of negative relationships that you're creating between yourself and the people around you is going to have a very negative impact on your work life. Another example, I would say, like maybe you wanted this weekend off, but someone else already has the weekend off and you forgot to ask for that weekend off. Say like you're kind of an asshole to your bosses, like weekend comes up and you're like, oh dude, like I forgot, like I really need this weekend off, like there's a drift event coming up, or like it's my girlfriend's birthday, we're gonna go out. Like if your politics are not in good shape, they're gonna be like, you know what, like fuck this guy, like this guy's an ass, like we're not gonna do anything for him. Like no, the answer is gonna be no. Another reason would be for, say you want to get your training, like at Toyota we had Toyota classes, at BMW now we have BMW classes. Say you want to get sent to those training classes so you can level up and eventually get more paid and be more certified and be an overall more qualified technician. If your bosses don't like you, they're not going to send you to training. They're going to go pick the guy they like. Long story short, that's what it comes down to. So hopefully I explain politics. I try to explain it the best I can, but like I said, the best way I can explain it is the relationship you have with your fellow employees, bosses, foremans, dispatchers, whatever. Next point I want to talk about is certifications. Certifications include ASE certifications and brand specific certifications. I did do a video on how to pass your ASEs. I kind of gave tips and advice of tactics I used to pass those ASE certifications, because they're really simple tests. Like you don't really need to know how to fix a car to pass those tests, but if you get the paper that says you're ASE certified, it makes it look like you know how to work on cars, even though you might not. But ASE certifications play a big role in the dealership world. I'm not too sure in independent because I've never worked in an independent shop, but from my experience, ASEs have taken me a long way. When I was at Toyota, I started off with just like 2 ASEs and I was kind of making bottom pay. And then when I became a technician, I decided to get the rest of them to become an ASE Master Tech. And after I got that, I got a couple bucks in raise per hour, so it adds up. And then, like I said, it just looks better if you ever do want to go to another place, because when I applied at BMW, I was an ASE Master Tech, so I really feel like that helped me secure the job because I had a lot more certifications. And even though I had no BMW experience, at least I had the certifications on paper to kind of back me up and show that I have some knowledge or experience in the automotive field. So ASEs, I feel like, are more important than you think. A lot of people kind of talk down on them, like, oh, ASEs, like, watch out, he's an ASE master. Like, yeah, it's funny to kind of make fun of it, but usually the people making fun of those ASE masters are the guys who don't have them. So I see there's no reason not to get them. Like I said, you can get pay increases with them. Also, it'll help you get sent to schooling, because for certain levels, as far as like brand specific, like at Toyota and BMW, you have to be an ASE Master Tech before you can become a Toyota Master Tech or a BMW Level 1 Master. So if you have all your ASCs, it's gonna be a lot better for, say, maybe when your boss is like deciding like, like, who should I send to classes? They're gonna look at the people who have the certifications that show they're already showing interest and investing into the career, and they're gonna choose those guys to send to the classes to further level up in your certifications. So that goes for leveling up in the place you're already in, more pay, and as well as if you decide to go somewhere else like I did. Say you have one guy, he applies for a job at Toyota. He's like, I want to become a technician. They look at his resume. He has 2 years working in this mom and pop shop that no one's heard of. Or he's like, I'm a total, like, I can fix any car, like, give me anything, I'll fix it. But he has no schooling, no certifications. All he has is what he's saying and maybe someone to vouch for him. Versus, say, another guy applies coming fresh out of school. He has all 8 certifications. Yeah, he doesn't have real world experience, but he has the certifications. More than likely, I would say, for like a bottom level position, they're gonna kind of, I would say more for sure, I would say for sure they're going to hire the ASE Master Tech, even though he has no real world experience, just because he looks better on paper. And that's just getting hired. Like, imagine you're even applying and you don't even get an interview. All they're looking at is the piece of paper of what you're putting down is your experience and certifications. So if they're just looking at a piece of paper, you got to think, who's going to look better? The guy with all the paper certifications or the guy who just has experience? And I'm not knocking experience, because I'm a firm believer that experience outweighs any certifications you may have. Certifications, in my opinion, really don't mean that you know how to work on cars. They just mean you know how to take a test. Every person that I've met has kind of felt the same way. Like, yeah, it's just a piece of paper. Like the ASE certifications or the BMW Master or Toyota Master doesn't really make you a master. That just means you know how to take a test and you took some classes. Experience, for sure, hands down, number one in this industry. Hands down. Experience over everything. Can't stress that enough. And just to touch a little bit on schooling, I had another video talking about automotive schooling, but the schooling, don't get too stressed out about it. Like, oh, like, don't be thinking I'm going to UTI because I'm going to make so much money since I went to UTI, versus I'm going to go to a community college and not make as much money because I didn't spend a lot of money on school. Like I said, the schooling is also just a piece of paper, so it's only going to take you so far. It's basically to get your foot in the door. At school, you will learn a lot, and it is up to the individual how much of that knowledge they give you you're going to actually put into your skills. But like I said, there's a big difference between going to school and learning how to do something versus doing it in the actual industry. Like in school, yeah, they're going to teach you how to use a voltmeter and how to rack a car and maybe how to pull out an engine or rebuild an engine. But I feel 99% sure that anyone who just did something like that in school, if they get put up with that task in the real world, they're going to be like, oh, like, they're not going to feel prepared like as if someone who actually did it a bunch of times in the real world versus being in the fixed environment like school and stuff like that. But one drawback I would say to having your certifications that I've noticed working in the dealership is the more certifications you get, the more jobs and recalls that you're qualified to do. So like, say like a hybrid car comes in for some diagnosis, and then say a car comes in for like 4 tires and alignment. If you're not certified to do hybrids, you're not getting the hybrid. So you're gonna get the gravy ticket. And say the guy who's certified, he's gonna get the hybrid diagnostic car. And that kind of tends to happen a lot because there's more under-certified technicians in the dealership world than certified technicians that are qualified to do everything there. So I've noticed, that's just one thing I've noticed like a lot. Like, and even when I was at Toyota, I got my hybrid certification, and as soon as I got my hybrid certification, most of the work I was getting was Priuses, Prius recalls, stuff like that, while all the newcomers who had no certifications were getting all the customer pay gravy work. So that kind of sucked. But then at the same time, when there was no work and like a hybrid or like something that you had to be qualified or certified for came in, it was nice being one of the technicians that was capable of doing it, and the other guys would have nothing because they weren't certified. That's just another point I wanted to throw in there for you guys to consider. But overall, end of the day, I feel like having more certifications is better than not having any or not having enough, because not only does the pay increase with the more certifications you get, you can also open the doors to go other places you want. Say you're not happy where you're working, if you're maxed out on your certs, you could almost go anywhere because you're like technically overqualified, and they're gonna look at it and be like, wow, this guy's like, he's about it. So that's it. So next subject I want to cover is toll on your body. Toll on your body, I would say this is a pretty strenuous job or career choice, like construction or any hands-on physical trade. Like, it's pretty tiring on your body. So like, it's pretty common to get off work at the end of the day like just feeling beat and just wanting to go home and chill and drink a beer and then do it over the next day, and it's kind of like a cycle like that. But that's just something you should consider, is it's pretty strenuous on your body. Like, you're on your feet all day. You're constantly bending over to rack up the car under dashes, trying to like do some wiring or repairs under there or fix something underneath the car with your arms held up, holding tools, and like heavy tools sometimes, impact guns, just holding a part, trying to maneuver it in. Like, it's a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of physical work. So like your arms and forearms, I would say, get used the most, but your feet and back will start to hurt. So over time, I'm sure it's gonna take a hella toll on my body. I'm 27 right now. I still feel like I'm like 18, but I see a lot of these guys at work like 40s and up, reaching their 50s, and I'm just like, damn, like you could tell they've been working on cars for a while, because like they're walking around just like not all of them, but a lot of them. Some of them I see, it's just like, wow. So it's one thing to consider. You definitely want to work smart and not hard to make your body last, because your body is your moneymaker. So if you get hurt outside of work, or say you mess up your back even at work, like that's your career on the line. So something to think about. That's also kind of why I stopped BMXing, because I didn't want to get hurt at the skate park and doing tricks. And it kind of sucks. It was something I really like to do, but I just have to think about like your career, and your body is your moneymaker. So you gotta really take care of yourself. That's why, thank God, drifting, you're in a car, sometimes it's caged, it's a lot safer, and it's like 10 times more fun. Next topic I want to cover is money investments. If you're gonna be a technician, you need to supply your own tools, and tools cost a lot of money. Sometimes too, at places, they don't supply you with a toolbox, so you're gonna have to buy a toolbox to put all those tools in. So as you can imagine, it's easily gonna get into the thousands of dollars. I'm for sure like 15 grand maybe in like total tools I've spent developing my tool collection, including this box that just sits here now. But it's a nice set, and I don't need it at work because they supply us with boxes, but you never know. That's why I'm holding on to this one. It's kind of something I'll probably have for the rest of my life. But yeah, that's one thing to consider. You're gonna have to buy your own tools, and you're basically gonna have to buy every tool you're gonna need for the job. And certain jobs, you might only use the tool one time. Yeah, you can borrow them from a friend, but like after you borrow it once or twice, it's kind of like you just want to get your own stuff, and it kind of just gets annoying asking people to borrow tools. Anyways, you have to buy your own tools, so just think about that's another thing, or a lot of money you're gonna have to put in to at least just get started. But like I say, I strongly recommend just buying Harbor Freight for a lot of stuff, especially if you're new to this industry and you don't really know what you're gonna need. Yeah, you can get that half-price student discount at school, but don't just go buying a bunch of stuff that you don't even know if you're gonna need, like especially those starter packs and stuff. Like, don't buy that. Like, just buy Harbor Freight ratchet, a couple sockets, pliers, and like even a Harbor Freight toolbox, and just kind of start with that. And once you start working in the industry, you're gonna learn on your own soon enough what tools you actually need and what tools you don't need. So that's why I say don't go wasting all your money, especially if you haven't even started working anywhere. Next point I want to talk about is driving record. Driving records also play a big factor in your career, because dealerships have to insure you under their insurance policy for you to drive customer cars, because you're a liability in a sense. So if your driving record has more than 2 points, I believe in California, I would kind of just say like you're out of luck, because I learned from experience. I got a reckless driving street drifting when I was like 19 years old, and that gave me 2 points, which was pretty much like having a DUI on your driving record. So for the next 3 years, I was unable to be insured by Toyota, and therefore I could not be a flat rate technician. That's why I was stuck changing oil for 4 years, because it was my driving record. So it's very important. I know, like when you're young, you're out of high school, you first get your race car, like, oh, let's street race, like let's go street drifting. Like, it is really fun, I'm not gonna lie, I did it, but I would just hope that some people would learn from my experience and just keep it to the track. Because if you get pulled over, popped, and you're doing some stupid stuff on the street, and those points land on your record, you are gonna regret it. At least I did. So maintain a clean driving record. It'll just really help out your career. Alright, so next topic I want to cover is work ethic. Work ethic, I feel like I would say is like a big of a factor as politics, honestly, because your work ethic and drive is ultimately going to be how much money you make wherever you're working at the dealership. Because when you're working at the dealership, we are flat rates. So say you get your X amount, say it's $24 an hour. If you're just clocked in 8 hours, you're going to get your 24 times 8 hours. But say you're a hustler and you make 10 hours, 12 hours a day. If you flag that much, you're gonna earn your 24 times 12 versus earning your $24 an hour times 8 hours. So that's why I say this industry is definitely for hustlers, at least if you want to make money. If you just want to make it by like the bottom feeders, I call them, that's fine. If you don't want to hustle and you don't want to make work, you can just get paid your 8 hours a day. But for me, that doesn't work out. I'm like pretty hungry and pretty driven and motivated. So if there's opportunity to make money, I'm gonna bust my ass to make that money and ultimately see a bigger paycheck. And at the end of the day, that's why we're all here, is to make money and make money. That's what it comes down to. So I would not recommend this industry or this job choice for someone who's kind of lazy. Whether or not you know yourself, if you're lazy or not, if you're one of those people who kind of just try and get by under the radar and like just do the bare minimum in like any area of your life, I would not recommend it, because especially if you don't love working on cars, because at the end of the day, you're gonna just start hating your job. And for the pay, you have to really love it. I would say there's a lot of people I see that they don't really care for cars or fixing cars, like they're not car enthusiasts, and you could tell because like at work you'll see them and like they just clearly don't give a and to me that's kind of like not where I would want to be in my life. Like I'm glad I do like working on cars because it makes my day job go so much faster, because it's something I enjoy to do. So it's something I enjoy and there's money to be made. So I forgot where I'm going with this, but for driven people. And the last point I would say is honesty. To me, honesty is pretty important. I know the automotive industry kind of has a bad rep, I would say. Like people assume you go to the dealership or you take it to the shop, like, oh, they're just trying to rip me off. And that's for a good reason. There are a lot of shops out there, like shady shops or shady technicians, and they'll like try and recommend and sell things or rip customers off, kind of sell them things they don't need. But at the end of the day, I would say most places are pretty honest. They kind of tell the customer what they need to buy, and it's things that we as technicians notice as during our inspection. And if it comes off like we're trying to rip you off, that's maybe because you're not understanding how your car works or what your car needs, or you're not really looking at your car. So, but I would say honesty is very important. Yeah. Especially too, as a technician, you want to kind of build your status as an honest technician. You don't want to be that guy who like recommends stuff that the car doesn't need or doesn't put parts in that you said you're going to put parts in. And that's pretty crazy for people who do that. But not only that, if you break something on a car, just be honest about it. I've broken a lot of things working in dealerships, a lot of expensive things sometimes, and like at the time you're kind of like oh, like how do I hide this, or like how do I get it, like brush it under the rug. Like I've learned from experience, it's better to just come clean, and if you make a mistake, they're forgiving, they understand, everyone's human. So just come clean about it, be honest, be like, look, I broke this, it was my fault, I was being an animal on this car, so that's what happened. And guarantee if you just keep that kind of pace, yeah, you'll be far better off in the long run, because you don't want to get caught doing like shady stuff or like brushing stuff under the rug and then have that car come back to you or to another technician and they're like, whoa, what the heck? Or like say it goes to another dealership, like say you broke something and try to like JB weld it, it goes to another dealership, that dealership's like, oh, like this is leaking because the last technician put some Mickey Mouse JB weld on it. Well, then that dealership's gonna figure out who worked on it, they're gonna contact your dealership, and more than likely you're gonna get fired for that kind of stuff. So just be honest, guys, it'll really go a long way. So that basically sums up this video. I guess they would say there's a lot of pros and cons to being a flat rate technician in 2020. I really enjoy it. One thing I like about flat rate technician is you can make as much money almost as you want to make. Like however much work you're willing to put in is how much paycheck you're gonna take home. Cons, I would say, is like a never-ending rat race. Like you can flag 120 hours one paycheck, and then the next paycheck it starts all over again. So that's one reason too, you have to stay motivated and just look at the big picture, because I've found myself sometimes like, like, man, like, what's the point? Like, there's just gonna be another paycheck, or like, oh, what's the point of even banging this car out? Like, it's only gonna be a couple hours. Because like sometimes it's really easy to like lose drive and motivation, but you just have to look at the big picture and look at the end goal to stay driven. So I hope I covered everything in this video. Let me know if I didn't. I'm sure I forgot a lot of stuff. Just kind of wrote down a little script of stuff I wanted to cover during this Corona season. Big plans though on the 240. Thank you guys for all your support. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, made the decision. I'm gonna boost the KA, so pretty excited about that. Never boosted a KA. I did have an SR20 before, but I'm really excited to actually turbo an NA car and see how that goes. So I'm piecing together parts right now and just trying to get everything ready. It's been raining a lot, so I haven't been able to go outside. I got a couple new parts for the 240 I want to show you guys, but I want to wait till the rain stops and start working on it again. So that's it for today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments if you have anything else you want to add. Say it to the Chippo. Catch you guys later. Peace!